Center in 1989 was bought by Mitsubishi Group, when Universal Studios by Matsushita in 1990. What was going on? There were trade frictions, there were currency disputes, there were debates over state subsidies, there were perceptions of an economic threat and the relative decline of the United States. I would say that there's another factor here that makes this whole mosaic a little more difficult than even back then. Because then, these companies were all about profit motivation, and they were making corporate decisions. Here, 2/3, as Ewan was saying, of the acquisitions in the United States are by SOEs, state-owned enterprises in China, which effectively, by definition, are state-owned. So there is an overlay here of strategic issues as well as economic issues that need to play out. Hence the issue and the concern with national security, hence the 2007 new act of the current CBLA that has 1616 government agencies and departments headed by the Secretary of the Treasury involved in the process. So you have a much more formalized process in terms of the review of these issues. And one of the criteria that has been added as well is proximity to sensitive U.S. military or strategic locations as well. So it's pretty natural, I think, that some of these issues will play out as they have. There will be some successes and some failures. What American companies can do to get ready for that, as Hawker attempted, I think, successfully to do, was to isolate and their military applications from their civilian, so that when Hawker, for example, went to market, their military patents, their military operations, their support and maintenance facilities were in a separate subsidiary, and indeed, had the transaction gone forward with Superior Aviation Beijing, those operations would have been sold off separately. So American companies have to be sensitive to these national security concerns, and as you groom yourself, one compelling figure, it staggered me when I heard it, when Perella Weinberg, the investment bankers for Hawker, were doing their first cut of who are the logical bidders that we should be going to. 12 of the 15 were Chinese companies. China represents such a huge market. If you're in aviation and in other industries, by definition, China will be a bidder for many of these U.S. companies by supplying capital as well as potential markets as well. So more and more this will happen, and there will be successes, and there will be also situations with CFIUS where applications, whether during the notice phase or the investigation phase, are withdrawn because it doesn't look like the transaction necessarily will reach a positive conclusion. The